Well, my name is Pam Hemphill. I call myself now the Ex-MAGA Granny. Make sure people put X. That was caught up in the propaganda listening to Trump, that the election was stolen. I'm a retired alcohol and drug counselor. I have 2 grandchildren and 3 children. And right now, mainly most of my time is spent just pushing back on Trump and still attending my 12-step meetings. So I was with the far, far right, not even knowing who I was with at the time, because I don't do my research. Just going around Boise, Idaho for a few years, not as a citizen journalist. That's the title they gave me. I'm not a journalist. I'm a retired alcohol and drug counselor. But I was having fun. They make you feel like it's a community, and it was fun. And I'm listening to all the propaganda. And whenever I would ask them a question, though, they're real good at gaslighting you. And, oh, Pam, don't be listening to that channel. Oh, Pam, don't be reading that article. So, they do that gaslighting, and they get upset at you if you question anything they're saying.
Before the election, as the election began to approach, how were you feeling about the 2020 election?
Very confused, because that was part of the problem. Where's the evidence about the election being stolen? And nobody would give me any links or information or who to listen to. They just kept saying it was stolen. That's what the Democrats do, Pam. They've been trying to steal elections forever. And then, of course, when they're telling you that Democrats are wanting to turn this into a communist, I'm laughing, communist nation, it scares you. Nobody wants this to be a fascist communist nation. And they were more educated and schooled than me. I'm so naive in politics at that time. I just retired, trying to look up and research addiction to help people. I wasn't into any politics, So I'm just going along with everything they're sharing with me.
How responsible was the president for what happened?
Those around him came to him and said the election wasn't stolen. He went to Pence, trying to get Pence to go along with what he wanted. And Pence didn't want anything to do with it, but he still goes out there anyway, spreading the lie that the election was stolen. So, yeah, it makes sense, though. He's a dangerous narcissist. He has an agenda. A lot of people say he just wants a lot of money. No, he wants a lot of power, but he needs the money to get there, so that's all. He's out of control, dangerous narcissist.
Let's talk about January the 6th. So in the build up to and the morning of the day, what were you preparing for and what were you expecting to happen?
I got there at 10:30. I was late, just still sick. I couldn't get up that early. It was friendly. It was kind of like being in the old days, the little love-in, everybody with their flags, everybody smiling, talking about politics, of course, but I was focused on just videotaping. I was by myself. I was supposed to hook up with the MAGA girls, but I changed my mind on that. See the crowd, and I thought, oh, I can't get through that crowd. Somebody could injure me by accident because I had stitches. So I thought, now what do I do? And I started asking people, what's going on next? What's going to happen next? Is there a list? And they said, well, we're hearing that Trump's going up to the Capitol. And I thought, what's he going up to the Capitol for? He's just had a speech, So I tried to find out. And one journalist said, I think I heard that he was, I'm not sure. Another one said, I don't know, but I just kept walking towards the Capitol. I turn around and I see a huge group of men coming. I thought, maybe they're the Proud Boys. I've heard about the Proud Boys. And when they got closer, I said to them, are you the Proud Boys? Are we going inside the Capitol? Oh my God. Oh my God. Well, they were going to go in legally, right? Remember Trump saying, stand back, stand by. So they were going to be with Trump to protect him. So I want to be right there, of course. I'm not trying to get famous as a journalist or nothing, but I want to make sure everybody, I was on Facebook Live. So I wanted everybody to see everything. And then William Dunphy was next to me. He was arrested. He's negotiating with an officer. That's what he's saying. Of course, he's lying. They're not going to negotiate nothing. allow us to go up to the steps. I was excited. Oh, we're going to get to the steps. We'll see. I'll be right there to see Trump. Well, they started pushing on the bike racks and pushing on officers. Well, I'm thinking now I'd taken a half a pain pill because I had a lot of pain going on. So my mind started, oh boy, never taken a pain pill. So when they're pushing, the officer ends up pulling me over. Now he must have thought I was panicking. And I was, because I thought, you know how at a football game or a concert, they try to get in too quick, they're gonna let them in. So that's what I'm thinking is going on. So I go around saying, come on in, it's your house. Oh my God, oh my God. That got me in trouble. Thank God nobody listened to me. I went to the female officer and I said, what's going on? Why aren't they coming in? She said, they're not letting them in, not Miss Hemphill. They're not letting them in, ma'am. And I said, well, oh my God. She said, but you're going back to the same spot. So they put me in the same spot. Oh my God, within a minute, they did it the second time and I knew, you could hear me on the video going, oh my God. You know, it's like, there we go, you know. So I'm thinking there's thousands of people in my mind behind me like a buffalo. So I start running to the captain, told him what was going on with me, that I had stitches. I'm scared. This crowd is scaring me. He said, go up to the steps. I'll tell the officers to put you behind them. Well, when I got on the steps, they tried to push me on an officer. They knocked me down, cut my knee, broke my glasses, pulled out my shoulder. I was not breathing, stepping on my head. Finally, 2 officers picked me up and got me behind them. So they saved my life that day. I was not breathing. So don't say you're some patriot running over a 69-year-old woman. Anyway. And then I stayed there for 20 minutes to get my air back and went up to the top. They pushed themselves up to the top of the door, started pepper spraying officers. They had flag poles. They were trying to break the door. So I went to the captain again, as another captain, I think. Said, where's the National Guard? My God, get them out here. They're going crazy. And he says, I can't get a hold of anybody. He's panicking too. There was 2 officers at the side of the door. Now, I know now they were letting them out on the other side and bringing them around. I didn't know what was going on. I didn't know there's another side. I didn't know there's a protest going on the other side. So I thought I'm going to get up close because there's an officer and I'll ask him on my video, are we allowed to come in? Well, they shoving everybody in. So I got in, I said they pushed me in, I sat down. And when they tried to take them out again, I went behind them again and sat down on the other side and told this officer, well, he came to me and he said, you okay? And I said, no, I don't want to get around these people. They're insane. They've already tried to kill me. So could you help me out? And he did. He helped me out. I go around back to the same side of that Capitol and there's Jacob Chansley, the Buffalo man. So I videotaped him. And then we get to the top of the steps and Trump starts speaking to leave. So I stayed there to make sure nobody would go try to get through that door again.
I mean, why would you say you were there and why was everybody else there? Do you think that there was an insurrection in a sense? Were you looking to change what was happening?
Well, you know, at the time, you're not thinking like, I never heard of the word insurrection. It's still shocking when you look back. See, Republicans believe in law and order, right? And they leave the Capitol cleaner than when they got there. This was so unexpected. I'm still like in shock that day, seeing what's going on, you know? I believe it was an insurrection. I know now that it's court records. Proud Boys, Oath Keepers, they all had this plan. Well, starting with Trump. Remember, Trump started this. It was not all these other people. Those were his enablers. To the end, Trump did this. And he had a plan. Why would he sit back for 3 hours and let people get injured? I mean, come on. I was thinking, why isn't he here? I had that thought. He could stop this right now. What's going on? Unless it was security reasons or something. Waits 3 hours? Come on. He was enjoying it.
When did you start to reassess the event and how do you feel about it now?
It wasn't until about 6 months later. I was still in the victim mode. I liked being the victim, and I went and saw my therapist. And he looked me right in the eye and said, Miss Hemphill, you're not a victim of January 6th. You had a choice. You could have left. You were a volunteer. And I got mad at him. I went home. I thought, I'm never talking to that therapist again. But he was right. And see, because I worked the 12 step program, one of the steps says, when you're wrong, promptly admit it. Well, I wasn't properly admitting it. So I did some introspection, did some praying, and I got honest with myself. And I said, he is right on. I had a choice. I'm not a victim.
I suppose when you had this moment of realization, or maybe it was a couple of different moments of realization, that actually what you'd been believing and what you'd been told might not be the truth, and that there might be lies involved. Do you remember how that felt?
Yeah, I think we all have it. When something told me to turn right, but you turned left, that's something that I wasn't feeling right. Like I would hear them as a victim. Well, but it was our house and they started, you go, it doesn't feel right though. They would come around and say, yeah, but we were protecting ourselves. The crazy making. And what they throw out there is so insane. In your heart and soul that no, they were criminals. We're all criminals that day. There's no excuses. You just know it, but you don't want to face it. It's difficult to admit when you're wrong. I get that. But see, because I'm in recovery and my sobriety is more important to me than anything in my life. I have to be right with God and myself and my fellow man. And I can't go around lying to myself. I mean, it didn't matter if I never been on media and I never talked to anybody. I got to live with me. And I want to sleep good and I want to meet my maker in peace. It's so painful sometimes to look at yourself and take responsibility. So they got to get these enablers around to push the narrative so they don't ever have to look at what they did. They can just continue to blame somebody else and don't have to take responsibility. And they're getting worse now. They're talking about going after the judges and everybody that had them arrested, and they're getting their little plans going. And now all Trump has done is open the door to make their narrative real, that it was not an insurrection, that they set it up. And this is frightening. We're just feeding it. They're feeding it the narrative, the false narrative.
And how have the other Jan 6s responded?
Well, see, a lot of people don't know this, but I've been speaking out for a year and a half. So I've had a smear campaign going on, lies and an op. Like it's a group of people that are putting out everything, my grandmother's name, my children's pictures, my past, my childhood, you name it. They have dug. I mean, it's a project for them. I've been keep going. You just keep speaking, keep putting it out there. Because what I wanted to do, see that narrative, the J6 narrative was full of lies. Somebody has to put out facts, not their opinion. That's what they do. I had to keep putting it out because there's another Pam out there that needs to know the facts of January 6th. So many in the mega cult, they're listening to all this propaganda. It's not true. And I'm not saying this because I had 60 days prison. I'm not trying to get rich or famous. No way. This is my amends for ever being there that day. That's why I cannot take a pardon. It would be part of them trying to rewrite history, slap in the face to the officers, a rule of law. No, I broke the law. I went to prison. I'm finishing up my probation. I have to finish my sentence.
Why do you think nobody paid much attention to the Jack Smith report when it came out? January the 7th or 8th this year, I think, sort of explaining how everything happened.
It's only the mega cult. It's the J6 criminals. They're the only ones that won't read it. Of course, that's the propaganda that Jack Smith was after him. Oh my God, they're insane. They're insane. They're delusional. Nobody's after them. It's called the rule of law. And when you break it, there's people like our wonderful Jack Smith. I love that guy, doing his job. That's it.
Do you, in your opinion, believe that Donald Trump committed an act of insurrection against the United States government?
Absolutely. And I'm so saddened about 14.3. Why couldn't we implement that? And I'm not schooled in the Constitution and I'm not a lawyer, but my God, we had the 14.3. Yes, he's an insurrectionist. Yes, he did this on purpose. He planned it along with all his flying monkeys. Trump, has always been a bully. He's a self-centered narcissist. And how he's threatening to go after everybody. And now our allies, and NATO and these trade wars. Oh my God. We didn't vote in a president. We voted in a dictator. He wants to be a mob boss. It's really, I don't know what we're gonna do. Keep pushing back and keep resisting. We need the Republicans to get some courage and stand up